Hello geometry students, today's learning target is to talk about an isosceles trapezoid. And these notes go along with the Desmos, but they're not exactly the same as the Desmos. So an isosceles trapezoid is a trapezoid and the legs are congruent. So an isosceles trapezoid, like an isosceles triangle, the two legs are congruent. And if we look at the Desmos, slide 14, you notice that angle A and angle D are congruent, angle B and angle C are congruent, and in fact, angle A and B still are supplementary, C and D are still supplementary. Even if I change the shape of the trapezoid, angle A and D are still congruent, B and C are still congruent. So it turns out that an isosceles trapezoid, as explained on slide 16, not only are the legs congruent, but the base angles are congruent. And I'm going to write this down in our notes. So going back to our notes, we know that the legs are congruent. And if I label this trapezoid TRAP, we know that angle P and angle A are congruent. We also know that angle T and angle R are congruent. So from slide 16 of our Desmos, the base angles in an isosceles triangle are also congruent. So make sure you write this down. So we have angle P is congruent to angle A, angle T is congruent to angle R, and the supplementary relationship still holds. So if we look at problem number 8, even though this is an isosceles trapezoid, these two angles that I just highlighted in green still are supplementary. So when I subtract 180 minus 45, the question mark is 135 degrees. Now using the isosceles trapezoid, if angle S is 53, that means angle P is also 53. And now I could figure out angle Q because angle Q and angle P add up to 180 degrees. So 180 minus 53, doing that on my calculator, I'll get 127 degrees. So angle Q is 127 degrees, and in fact, angle R is 127 degrees. And if we go back to problem number 8, just for clarity, angle J is also 45 degrees, and angle K is also 135 degrees because it is isosceles. Now let's look at some problems that involve some algebra. So if we look at problems 10 and 11, I want us to write the equation for these two. So looking at number 11, these two angles are supplementary, and I'll come back to number 10. So 80 plus 11x minus 32 is equal to 180 degrees. In problem 10, since angle T is 65, we know angle Q is 65. So that tells us 11x minus 17 plus 65 is equal to 180 degrees. So these two problems review the properties of a trapezoid. Now let's take a look at 12 and 13. Because this is an isosceles trapezoid, in problem 12, these two angles are base angles, so they are congruent. So I would say 4x plus 25 is equal to 7x minus 2. Now I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides. We'll get 25 is equal to 3x minus 2. I'll add 2 to both sides. So 27 is equal to 3x. I'll divide both sides by 3, and we get x to be equal to 9. Now I want to find angle A. So angle A is 7 times 9 take away 2. Using my calculator, I get angle A is 61 degrees. So angle A in problem 12 is 61 degrees. In problem number 13, since this is an isosceles trapezoid, angle K and angle L are equal. So I'm going to write 9x minus 13 for angle L. And then angle L and angle M are consecutive angles, so they add up to 180 degrees. So the equation would be 9x minus 13 plus 7x plus 1 is equal to 180 degrees. Combining like terms, so meaning adding the x, I get 16x. Combining the negative 13 and 1 minus 12 is 180 degrees. I'll add 12 to both sides. 16x is equal to 192. I'll divide by 16. I need to get my calculator out here. X is going to be equal to 12. I want to find angle K. So angle K, I'm going to write this at the top. So angle K is 9 times 2, take away 13. 9 times 12, take away 13. So 9 times 12 minus 13 is 95 degrees. So angle K is 95 degrees.